really big, exciting opportunity. Barbie is just known all around the world, and there's something a little bit, I think we at Lucky Chap kind of run at the scary things, and I think when there's something that scares you a bit, you end up really having to run at that scary thing in order to be able to, tackle it, and in doing so, you end up, I don't know, just finding potent ideas, and there's just, I don't know, I like swinging for the fences, and so this seemed like a big and exciting, swinging for the fences kind of thing. And of course, Greta, I wanted to work with her for years, and what I recognized in her work that I knew a Barbie movie would need to have is a big beating heart, mainly, because all the funny, all the jokes, all this clever, all the things, like, none of that matters if it doesn't like hit you in here, and her work always hits me like that. I also know she is incredibly funny and incredibly smart and really cares about filmmaking and Hollywood history and old school filmmaking techniques, which you see implemented in this movie to, in such a spectacular way. So she just ticked so many boxes, and I really like her and wanted to be friends with her. And now we didn't know if Ryan was going to do it. Really? Yeah, in fact, Ryan was like, I'm not going to do it. And we were like, well, we're not taking no for an answer. I don't know, I'd have to let Ryan speak to that. But no, but essentially it was just, he was like, you really want me to play Ken? And we were like, yeah, we can't accept anything but you're the dream scenario. It's funny, speaking of Ryan, I didn't know when we rehearsed, when Greta and Ryan and I, when we did rehearsals together, he was playing it quite small, actually, in rehearsals, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to pull it back quite a bit. He's doing a very grounded version of Ken, and then once we got to set, it was like he turned it up to like 100, and I was like, oh, great, we're going big with it. And so part of it was calibrating your performance so that you didn't mess with the tone, or you could live up to the tone at the right moments. And there are a lot of moments where we really play up the doll, like physicality and roll over and all that kind of stuff is so fun. And I love physical comedy so much, and I love watching the genius comedians of the past, and that stuff's always really appealed to me. So I love that aspect of it, but at the same time there needed to be the moments where Barbie's interacting with humans and having very emotional moments and beats, and that all needed to exist in the same world. So it was about mapping out the kind of journey, the evolution, or from being a doll to being human. And we did that in a lot of kind of physical ways, with my wigs getting smaller, the hair getting less voluminous, shorter, until by the end it's like, oh, she kind of looks like me. And the movement also, and the cadence of the way that Barbie spoke, I wanted at the beginning for it to be very definitive and very, she's never second-guessed anything, and there's so many concepts that have never, she's never been exposed to, so she exists with total certainty, and then uncertainty creeps in, and then, her speech patterns kind of change, and the register of her voice goes down a little bit, and the way she's dressing and looking, and just by the end, you're like, oh yeah, she does kind of look like a human now, was the plan, that was the dream. One of my favorite scenes I got to do with him is where we're both having just massive meltdowns, where he's throwing all of Barbie's clothes off the dream house, and he's like, take your pretty palazzo, and I'm like, palazzo, and it's just so ridiculous and big and so fun to, anyways, you're a room full of actors, going big is so fun. It was so great to do that, and then very exposing to do those vulnerable moments. That was actually felt very like, oh my gosh, I really revealed myself in those moments.
That's the speech. Yes, it hit me the first time I read it, and I knew that it was special, and I knew that it was important, and I knew that my job was to not mess it up. But I also didn't know exactly how Greta heard it. I didn't know I don't know why, but I assumed that we would, cover ourselves and do versions that were lighthearted or like more in the tone of Barbie Land, or, trying to say these truths, but in a way that could go down easier, you know? And Greta just never asked me to do that. She just wanted that moment to be real. It was like one of the last things we shot.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we did Barbie Land and then we came here for some real world stuff and then we went back to Barbie Land.
It was like America bottled that speech up for the whole shoot, and then the day that she like released it into the world, it was wild.
Yeah.
Like sitting there front row, it was like you couldn't breathe. It was, and she did it so many times, like again and again and again, and it was at that level. Like, there was no like, oh, they'll probably pick take 3 and 7 because those were the ones where she really went for it. It's like every single one was that level, and I was in tears every time. And one of the ADs came up and she'd be like, "You don't need to cry. You don't need to cry." And I was like, "I'm not trying to cry. I'm trying not to cry." Will always stays on set.
Jamie, we would
hangs
always,
with everyone.
I never leave.
You never go to your trailer.
Right.
I saw Will taking a nap like on the most uncomfortable looking like plank of wood, and I was like, he has a trailer, but he's just like one of those actors that will stay on set, hang with everyone, talk with everyone. Like, yeah. All the good things you ever thought about in the truth. You did that. Thank you. I would break so often. I've tried not to, but there's so many comedic geniuses. I'm doing things with Kate McKinnon, with Ryan, with Will. I mean, like, it was so hard not to break. And I was so, I couldn't. Like, inclusivity is part of the reason that I could see a way forward with this film. If they hadn't made that shift, I don't know if I'd really, I just don't know how we'd tackle it. You know, I was really grateful for that, and of course we wanted to make Barbie Land just this like amazing utopia. It just so happens that the Barbies are in more control than the Kens until they're not. But it was, yeah, it was so fun, and the casting, it was a real card castle. But Greta and Noah wrote everyone's names, most people's names into the script. When I picked up the script, it said Barbie Margot, and it would have my line. Ken Ryan Gosling would have his line. Ken Simu would have his line. Gloria, being the human, actually had a real name, but you wanted straight away, knew we wanted to be America. Ariana was a find. We got to go through all the audition tapes, and Will, like, kind of everyone, unless I can't think of anyone who had like a schedule. It's like every person Greta wanted would approach, would be like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. It was amazing and such a gift. But it was important to do it kind of like piece by piece as you're building this castle, so that you're building the right dynamic and group with everyone. So no, I mean, that's what's so brilliant, is that she can have, I mean, the highs and lows in this movie that the characters go through are pretty extreme. There are a lot of extremes, and being able to play in that space is so fun. And yeah, everyone just relished the chance to like scream and cry and be totally grounded and be hilarious. And yeah, I guess because she and Noah wrote the script and then she was directing it. It was like they already knew what the tone was. They had imbued it into the writing. So there wasn't, you know, as much as we sat there being like, okay, I don't know how this take is going to fit in. Like, they got it. We know she's got it.